Hello dear students, welcome back in class 10th biology. Students, I hope that you all are well and you all are studying sincerely at your homes. Today we will start chapter 7, control and coordination. The main topic of today's lecture is nervous system in animals. In today's lecture we will study in detail about need of control and coordination in animals, nervous system and its functions. Some important terms like stimulus, response, impulse, receptors, and effectors, structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is neuron, scheme of transmission of nerve impulse in body through neurons, parts of nervous system, reflex action, reflex arc and its importance, functions of spinal cord. Let us start with the topic the need of control and coordination in animals. Students, we know that movements or changes in position are an important characteristics of living organisms. They show movements in their body in order to respond to the changes that take place in their surroundings or within the body. Some movements are growth in dependent movements and some are growth independent movements. For example, in this picture, you are watching that seed is germinating and seedling is growing. This type of movement is growth dependent movement, means these movements involve growth. If the plant stops growing, these movements will also stop and the plant will not show any movement. But in the diagram under this, you are watching there is a touch me not plant, and if you touch the touch me not plant or chui mui ka poda, you see it droops its leaves immediately. But when you remove the stimulus of touch, it blooms, it unfolds, it comes to its leaves come to its original position. These type of movements in such plant does not involve any growth. So this type of movement is called growth independent movements. Similarly, human beings and other animals also show movement in their body which does not involve any growth, and they are the growth independent movements. For example, when you touch a hot object, you immediately take your hand away. And another example you are watching, when you look at the sunlight with bare eyes, in response to it, what you will do, you close your eyes immediately on watching the sun directly. The movement of eyes show that this type of movement does not involve any growth. Again, you are watching in this figure that a cat is running behind this um, rat to catch its prey. Again, this type of movement does not involve any growth. You are watching in this diagram, the buffalo is eating grass and chewing the cud. Again, this type of movement does not involve any growth, but movement takes place in the body of this living organism. In this diagram, you are watching that the child is talking to his or her partner in the class in a very um, slow voice or just whispering in the ears of his or her partner. He knows the situation that this is not the appropriate time to speak loudly in the class as the class is going on and teacher is teaching in the class. So these type of movements does not involve any growth, but these all movements occur in the living organisms in response to the changes that occur in their surroundings or within the body. So what we have observed, that we observe these movements as a response to change in the environment of an organism occur in a controlled way. Multicellular organisms have complex body systems, and various organs work um, related to particular body system. These movements are controlled and coordinate in a very proper way. For example, you are running, you are doing physical exercise, your muscular system is working at this time. But at the same time, as the body is made up of many systems and many systems involve the working of various organs, these all systems and their organs also work simultaneously. For example, you are doing vigorous exercise or physical exercise, you are running, at that time muscular system is working, but along with this are respiratory system, transport system, excretory system, digestive system. They all, the organs related to these systems are also working simultaneously, but in a control and coordinated way. For example, in a school, there is a teamwork, like which involves the functioning of school principal, coordinators, teachers, official staff, guards, sweepers, gardener, students. They all are playing their own role and make one system, that is school institution, and all are working in a control and coordinated way. They cannot work independently. Similarly, our body organs, no organ in the body actually work independently. The working of all the organs present in particular system are interrelated. They are dependent on each other and work in a controlled and coordinated way. So, what is the meaning of control? Control means the power of restraint and regulations by which something can be started, slowed down, or stopped. Means how the functioning of the body can be controlled when it starts its function, when it slows down its function, when it stops its function. Then coordination means working together of various organs of the body systems to carry out the various life processes. To recognize various events and allow appropriate movement in their response, multicellular organisms use a system of control and coordination which is provided by nervous tissue and muscular tissue. Control and coordination in complex multicellular organisms is achieved by two systems, that is nervous system, which involves brain, spinal cord, sense organs, nerve cells, nerves, and endocrine system, which involves chemical coordination with the help of chemical messengers that are hormones. In plants also, control and coordination involves chemical coordination by means of plant hormones. Because they do not contain nervous tissue and muscular tissue, so chemical coordination is the main way for control and coordination in their plant body. Let us start with nervous system in animals. The nervous system is the control system of the body, which consists of highly specialized cells called neurons or nerve cells. You know about them and you have read in detail their structure in your ninth standard. These nerve cells are capable of being stimulated and transmit the nerve impulses from one part of the body to another. It controls and coordinates the various activities of the different organs in the body. Now let us see what are the various functions of nervous system. It regulates voluntary and involuntary movements of the human body. It helps in control and coordination of all activities of the body. It enables an animal aware of its surroundings with the help of sense organs. It collects the information from the external or internal environment through sense organs such as ear, nose, tongue, and interprets or process the message accordingly and give appropriate response to that information or um, information or any change in if it detects in its surroundings. For example, gustatory receptor detect taste and help us to taste the food. Olfactory receptors present in nose help to detect the smell in the surroundings. This nervous system helps in thinking and reasoning. It controls the reflex actions of the human body. It enables us to remember, learn, reason, and think. Students, you know that all living organisms have ability to respond to stimuli. That means all living beings have the ability to detect changes in their external as well as internal environment to respond and react appropriately to these changes. What are these changes which the body detect from the surroundings or within the body called? It is called stimulus. The changes in the environment, external or internal environment of the body to which the body of living organism respond is called stimulus. Response is the reaction of the body of a living organism to the stimulus is called response. For example, when we touch the touch me not plant, it droops its leaves, it folds its leaves. So touch is a stimulus, that is change it detects, and drooping or folding of leaves is a response, means reaction towards that stimulus. Similarly, when we touch the hot object, so heat is the stimulus and withdrawal of the hand is the response, that is movement caused in the body which shows the action or reaction towards that stimulus in the form of response. So watching the sunlight directly, watching at the sun and closing of the eyes, watching the sun is the stimulus, getting the strong sunlight is the stimulus, or strong sunlight entering the eye is the stimulus, and closing of the eyes in response to this bright sunlight is the response. Now the question arises, which organs of the body detect these changes called stimulus, and which organs of the body show reaction, that is response to these stimuli? For perceiving stimuli and providing response in the body, the nervous system requires receptors and effectors. Now, what are receptors? Receptors are the cells, tissues, and organs which are capable of receiving these particular stimuli and convert them into electrical nerve impulse. Sense organs contain group of sensory receptors for picking up information about changes in the external and internal environment. For example, photoreceptors or receptors for light present in the sense organ, that is eyes. These receptors detect the stimulus of light. Phonoreceptors or acoustic receptors for hearing are present in inner ear and detect the stimulus of hearing. Olfactoreceptors or receptors for smell are located in nose and detect the stimulus of smell. Similarly, gustatoreceptors present in the tongue detect the stimulus of taste. Then mechanoreceptors for touch, they are tactic receptors, heat or cold thermoreceptors, or receptors for pain and pressure. They all are present in our skin and detect the stimulus of touch, heat or cold or pain or pressure. Effectors are the muscles or glands which act in response to the message received from the nervous system, and these messages, after entering, detected by the receptors and sent to the effectors, travel through the nerve cells in the form of electrochemical signals. So those messages are called nerve impulse. Nerve impulse is the message or information, that is the change or the stimulus the receptors picked from the surroundings, from the external or internal environment of the body, in the form of electrochemical signals that travels along the nerve cell. So these messages travel in the nerve cells similar to the electrical wires, as electric current uh, flows through the electric wires and carry the current from the to the device, and device starts working. When you switch on the device, the current starts flowing through the electric wires and device starts working. Similarly, our receptors detect the changes or the stimulus from the internal and external environment and send it from one part of the body to another part of the body through nerve cells or neurons. And that message travels in the form of electrochemical signals called impulse. So these nerve impulses um, pass in the nerve cells in the form of message, like the electric current. Now let us see the structural and functional unit of nervous system, that is neuron. Students, you have learned this diagram in your ninth standard. This is the structure of neuron or a nerve cell. It is the basic unit of nervous system. It consists of cytone or cell body. From the cytone, these small branch structures arise called dendrites. This cell body consists of nucleus, cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm, the various cell organelles are present. Then a long unbranched process arise from the cell body called axon, which is surrounded by myelin sheath and ends up into branched endings called nerve endings. So, neuron consists of cytone, dendrites, axon, and nerve endings. Now, let us learn about types of neuron. There are three types of neurons: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association or interneurons, or relay neurons. Sensory neurons, these neurons carry the sensory impulses from sense organs or receptors to central nervous system. Central nervous system means brain or spinal cord. Motor neurons, these neurons carry motor impulses or instructions from central nervous system to effector organs like muscles or gland. Association or interneurons or relay neurons, they connect sensory neurons to motor neurons, and they are located in the brain and spinal cord. You can see this is the diagram which represents the sensory neuron. This is the diagram which represents the structure of motor neuron. That is, this is interneuron, and this diagram indicates the direction, the diagram of motor neuron. So there are three types of neuron present in the multicellular organisms, including human beings. Now, how these nerve cells, which are several meter long fibers like structures present in the human body and carry the information in the form of nerve impulses from one part of the body to another, are interconnected. How one neuron is connected to the another neuron. Students, you are watching that this is the cell body of the neuron and these are the dendrites, and this is the axon which ends into nerve endings. From the nerve endings, the new neuron starts, and there is a small gap between the nerve endings of one neuron and dendrites of the another neuron. That small gap between these two neurons is known as synapse. So synapse is a junction between the two neurons or joint between the two neurons, or a small gap between the two neurons, that is between the nerve endings of one neuron and dendrites of the another neuron. Now let's see what happens at this synapse, how the nerve impulse from one nerve cell transmit to the another nerve cell through this synapse. So first of all, let us see the definition of synapse. Synapse is a very small gap between two neurons, that is nerve ends of one neuron and dendrites of another neuron. You have seen from the diagram where the nerve impulse are transmitted from one neuron to another. This small gap between two neurons is called synapse. Now see what happens at the synapse. At the nerve end of axon of one neuron, the electrical impulse cause the release of some chemicals called neurotransmitters. Students, when the dendrites receive the stimulus, certain chemical changes take place, and these chemical changes or chemical reactions generate the electrochemical signal inside the nerve cell. So dendrites receive the stimulus, release certain chemicals, and cause certain chemical reactions in the cytone part of the nerve cell, and these and change into electrochemical signals. And then in this way the impulse is generated which moves from dendrites to cell body, from cell body to axon, and from axon it reaches the nerve endings. At the nerve endings, again these electrochemical signals are changed into chemical signals, means they involve the release of certain chemicals as a result of certain chemical reactions that take place at the end of these nerve endings. And those chemicals which are released into the gap called synapse, those chemicals are called neurotransmitters. And the common there are many neurotransmitters, and the common example of such neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. This acetylcholine type of neurotransmitter then through this synapse stimulate the dendrites of another neuron, and again the chemical reactions takes place inside the dendrites of another neuron, and the nerve impulse is transmitted and generated from the dendrites of this new neuron, and then it moves towards the cytone of the another neuron, and then to the axon of the another neuron, and then to the nerve endings of that neuron. And this process continues till the impulse reaches the final or target organ, which shows the final action and response towards that stimulus which is picked up by the dendrites of these nerve cells. So what happens at synapse? At the nerve endings of the axon of one neuron, the electrical impulse cause the release of some chemicals called neurotransmitters, for example acetylcholine. These chemicals cross the synapse and start a similar electrical impulse in the dendrites of next neuron. And this is one way path to conduct the nerve impulse in one direction only, because neurotransmitters are secreted by the nerve endings in the synapse but not by the dendrites. So this type of question has also come in the final exams, in board exams, that why synapse act as one way path to conduct the nerve impulses, right? So go through this and learn it. Now let us see the scheme of transmission or conduction of nerve impulse in the body. You have seen with the help of a diagram that how the stimulus, for example, let us take the example of touching the hot object. This is the stimulus. It is detected by or perceived by receptors present in the skin as thigmoreceptors. And the dendrites of sensory neurons present in those receptors detect or receive the information of hot object and send it towards the cell body by converting them into electrical signals called impulse. Now impulse is generated, and that impulse is what? That is the information of hot object. That impulse now goes from cytone to axon, and from axon to nerve end, and from nerve end it reaches the synapse with the help of neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are the chemicals which are released into the synapse by the nerve end to start a similar impulse in the dendrites of another neuron, and this process will continue till the message or information or impulse of hot object reaches to the target organ, and that is muscles or gland, that takes the appropriate action in response to that stimulus. For example, what action it will take? That, for example, it withdraws the hand. So this withdrawal of hand or taking away of hand after touching the hot object is done by the muscles of hand. So these are the target organ. It means the message in the form of impulse finally has reached to the target organ, which are called effectors. For example, muscles or glands. If it reaches to the glands, glands secrete certain chemicals, juices in to show response to the a stimulus. So it depends upon what type of stimulus the body has received and which organ appropriately respond to that. See the whole process with the help of diagram. In the previous slide you have seen the whole process, conduction of nerve impulse in the form of flow chart, and here with the help of diagram you can see that the dendrites receives the stimulus, for example stimulus of touching the hot object, and starts the chemical reactions. Chemical reactions generate the electrochemical signals or nerve impulse which move from dendrites to cytone. From cytone it reaches to axon, and from axon it reaches to nerve ends, and from nerve ends again the chemical reaction takes place, and neurotransmitters or the in the form of chemicals are released into the synapse to transmit that information in similar information into the next neuron, and this continues till it reaches the target organ. uh, how it happens, let us see in a magnified zoom the diagram, and you will see this what happens. This is the nerve end of one neuron, where these small globules, bubble like structures, where the dot like structures you are watching, these are the neurotransmitters, and here the nerve impulses are converted into chemicals, and these chemicals are released into the synapse. This is a small gap between the nerve end. This shows the nerve end of one neuron, and this shows the dendrite of the another neuron, and in between there is a gap called synapse. So these chemicals in the form of neurotransmitters, example acetylcholine, are released into this small gap called synapse and stimulate and transmit the impulse now into the dendrites of the another neuron. And same way the impulse started, and this will go on until and unless it reaches the target organ for the action. That target organ is the effector. And for example, these nerve endings are entered into the muscles and send the message ultimately to the muscles for the appropriate action to take place. And same way they release those neurotransmitters, and then the muscles show the contraction or relaxation, means to change their to bring the changes in the chemistry of their cells in order to produce appropriate action towards that stimulus. So this is whole scheme that how these nerve impulse travel through the nerve cells after receiving the information in the form of stimulus and giving appropriate response to that stimulus, right? Now let us see the various parts of nervous system in human beings. Nervous system composed of three components: that are center nervous system, autonomic nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Actually, nervous system is one complete system, and for our convenience, we have divided it into three categories. Center nervous system is further composed of two components, spinal cord and brain and spinal cord. Then autonomic nervous system consists of two components, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is composed of two types of nerves, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. We will learn about them in detail one by one. Let us see the topic reflex action. Students, sometimes we come across certain um, situations to which our body provides quick response without thinking, without involving brain. um, those type of actions are called reflex actions. So what is reflex action? A quick, sudden, immediate, involuntary, automatic or spontaneous response of the body to the stimulus without thinking or involving the brain is called reflex action. And these type of actions are controlled by spinal cord. What are those situations? What are those stimuli to which our body provides immediate response? Let us see the examples. Withdrawal of hand on touching a hot object. When you touch a hot object, you, without thinking, you take your hand back to protect your body, to protect your hand from mishappening. Similarly, when something bright enters your eye, like any insect while you are driving, suppose any insect enters your eye, or when you look at sun and bright sunlight enters your eye, you start blinking your eyes, and sometimes you immediately sneeze, cough or vomit without thinking, without involving brain. Or withdrawal of leg when stepped on a pointed object, or watering of mouth at the sight of tasty food. In these situations, what happens? The body shows immediate or involuntary or sudden and quick response without thinking or involving brain. Such type of reflex actions are called reflex actions, and these are controlled by spinal cord. Now, students, let us see how spinal cord controls reflex action. This is the diagram of spinal cord, internal structure of spinal cord. The nerves arising from spinal cord are called spinal nerves, and these nerves connect the various parts of the body uh, to the brain. Here, these spinal nerves have two paths. One you are watching, this is upper one and this is lower one. Same way, this spinal nerve also has two paths, one this and one this lower one. Now, when someone touches the hot object, the receptors present in the skin detect that stimulus of heat, and dendrites of sensory neuron pick up that stimulus of heat and generates an electric impulse or nerve impulse and carry it through this path of this upper part of sensory spinal nerve towards the spinal cord. And here inside the spinal cord, this sensory neuron transmits the nerve impulse to the motor neuron. In between sensory neuron and motor neuron, there is present relay neuron. Here the sensory, inside the spinal cord, the sensory impulses are converted into motor impulses, and which are picked up by this motor neuron in the form of command now. Now here the command is given by spinal cord. The message does not travel from spinal cord to the brain, because brain is a complicated organ and consists of large number of network of nerve fibers. And if the message go like this, this emergency situation, message of emergency situation, that is touching of hot object from spinal cord goes to the brain, then brain takes some time to interpret those messages. Until then, the accident might have occurred and cause harm to the person or cause the burning sensations. So here the message does not travel towards the brain. Here the message which is carried by the sensory neuron from the receptors is transferred into the motor neuron in the form of command or order. And here the message through the motor neuron goes to the effectors, that is muscles of the arm, and the changes occur in the muscles of the arm, and hand is withdrawn immediately without involvement of brain, without thinking, and the person skin is saved from being burnt. So this is how one arc uh, is formed in this whole process. That arc is known as reflex arc. Means the nerve impulse which carry the information of hot sensation from the receptors to the effectors, that is muscles, from the receptor, that is skin, to the effectors, that are muscles of the arm, takes place through sensory neuron. Then inside the spinal cord, through the relay neuron or interneuron, the message is transferred to the motor neuron, and from motor neuron the message ultimately reach the effectors for the appropriate action to be taken in. So this full arc formed by the nerve impulse is known as reflex arc. Let us see what is reflex arc. It is the path traveled by the nerve impulse during the reflex action. Is called reflex arc. It travels from receptors to effectors through sensory neuron, spinal cord, relay neuron, and motor neuron. So this is the pathway of nerve impulse in the reflex arc. So students, you have to practice this diagram because it is very important diagram from examination point of view. There are many easy way of drawing diagrams. Such type of diagrams are available on YouTube, and you can take the help of those sites and learn to draw the diagrams. Or if you find a difficulty in locating those sites, you can ask me. I will make you to draw the simple diagrams of a nervous system. So this is again the flow chart which tells the path taken up by the nerve impulse during reflex arc. You can see that the stimulus, that is touching a hot object, is perceived by receptors present in the skin, and that message of hot object or heat is picked up by the dendrites of the sensory neuron, and nerve impulse is generated which carry the message towards spinal cord, and inside the spinal cord, message from the spinal cord will not go to the brain. Here the spinal cord will take the action, and inside the spinal cord, interneuron carry those sensory impulses and change them into motor impulses which are picked up by the motor neuron, and from motor neuron these nerve impulses reach the effectors. Effectors are the muscles in this case, and muscles show the appropriate action, that they help to withdraw the hand away and form the appropriate response towards that stimulus. This is the reflex arc. Now students, let us see what is the importance of reflex action. Reflex action enables an organism for an immediate response to the harmful stimulus. Otherwise, mishappenings can occur. It reduces the overloading of brain, means it does not involve brain while taking the action. towards the emergency or harmful stimulus or emergency situations, and it increases the chances of survival of an organism. Now, what are the functions of spinal cord? Spinal cord connects the various parts of the body to the brain with the help of spinal nerves. So, spinal cord act as two-way conducting path. That is, it conducts the message in the form of sensory and motor nerve impulses from the receptor to the brain and from the brain to the effectors. Number two, it controls the reflex action and reduces the overloading of the brain. So students, this is all for today's lecture. If you find any difficulty in understanding in any of the topic, you can ask me telephonically or through WhatsApp and get your query solved. So thank you and have a nice day. Stay safe, stay healthy.